It needs to stop.
It seems like every year this is getting worse and worse.
So many shootings and lives lost.
A lot of vehicles that's been driving and may have been involved in that shooting.
9 on Your Side presents Stopping the Violence. The problem, the plan, the solution. Good evening. Cincinnati has a gun violence problem.
Another 4 people shot just hours ago today, and at least one of them is dead.
Over the next 30 minutes, we are going to be looking at the problems, including guns on the street, a lack of respect for human life, and keeping kids out of trouble. We look at the solution, which involves that 90-day plan. We have Chief Jeffrey Blackwell here live with us. And then how community leaders and church leaders are working together to be part of this solution.
Now, let's quickly break down some of the numbers that we've been reporting over the last several days and several weeks. The latest report from police shows 53 people, staggering number here, 53 people have already been shot here in 2015. To give you some perspective, yeah, that is 77% increase from this time last year. The largest number of shootings right now are in District 4, we are told, which covers Walnut Hills, Avondale, Bond Hill, and Carthage. Now, in 30 of those shootings, by the way, lives have been taken. Staggering figures, of course, and even more troubling, 6 homicides in 15 days. And just another today, Carol.
And it all started around the middle of last month. 9 on Your Side anchor Tanya O'Rourke looks at the bloody timeline of events that set this city on edge.
May 15th, gunshots at the corner of Marlowe and Hamilton Avenue in College Hill. 30-year-old Cameron Starr shot dead. Just one day later, on Bahama Terrace in Mount Airy, 3 people shot, children in the home. 33-year-old Jeffrey Terry didn't survive his gunshot wounds. By now, the city's wondering what's happening. Shootings happening all over the city, people wounded, residents scared.
That's why I'm at work Saturday morning. I'm out here today. I have 3 or 4 other stops in Avondale and Bond Hill to better assess what's going on and to strategize.
On May 26th, another shooting kills. This time, it's a kid who's dead. 15-year-old Nathaniel Scott Jr. shot at the corner of William Howard Taft and Park Avenue in Walnut Hills. 2 guns are found in a nearby playground.
We're gonna let the system do this.
2 days later, someone shot 31-year-old Eric Moore dead on Joseph Street in Bond Hill. This time, the police chief came to the scene.
We're going to put all hands on deck, but we also need our city to stand up and say enough's enough as well. We need people to stand up and look out and be good witnesses.
But 2 days later, a similar scene, this time on Dutch Colony Drive in Winton Hills. 22-year-old Demetrius Elliott shot dead while in a cab. 6 boys or men shot dead in 15 days in the Queen City. Then just this afternoon, 4 people shot in Hewitt Avenue in Evanston, one of them killed. Tanya O'Rourke, 9 on Your Side.
Now, today's plan came just hours after another shooting, this one involving a Cincinnati police officer who shot and killed a man in Northside. Now, this all started with a 911 call, a woman claiming Quandavia Hicks had threatened to shoot up her home and also kill her and her boyfriend. The trail led police to this Chase Avenue home and then, as they tell it, to a door-to-door search for him, then a split-second decision.
The suspect pointed the rifle directly at officers. Officer Moore, who was on his 3rd day of duty out of the last recruit class, reached out and grabbed the rifle and attempted to redirect the muzzle away from him and his FTO officer. At the same time, FTO Officer Scott fired 1 shot, striking Mr. Hicks.
Hicks' uncle tells us tonight that he bears no ill will towards any of the officers involved in this. The officer who fired the deadly shot is Doris Scott. She joined the force in 2007. Both officers are on paid leave right now, which is normal for these types of cases.
What we want to do now is take a look at a map that breaks down the crimes in Cincinnati's 51 neighborhoods. The numbers from WCPO.com show overall violent crimes are down, falling nearly 25%. Violent crime includes all types of assaults, but when you look at just shootings, the numbers are up. WCPO digital specialist Mark Nichols says the overall reduction in crime is only a single digit.
I mean, you have a 1% decrease overall. Just think if we hadn't nearly doubled the number of shootings, it would probably, that decrease would be even higher.
So what is the core cause that's sparking the rash in shootings? Well, today, the police chief said it really boils down to 3 issues here: disrespect, beefs with others, and turf wars. Contrary to popular belief, not all shootings are actually drug related. An example, this shooting in May in Walnut Hills. This man, police say, is Rashawn Harold. He's seen on video shooting his gun back at a car driving north on Reading Road. Now, in the exchange, a bullet hit a Metro bus as well as the Shell gas station there. Because of this video, police were able to arrest Harold, and he's behind bars tonight. Well, getting people like him off the streets isn't an easy task. Fighting the no snitch mentality is one of the hardest things officers face during any investigation. And Police Chief Blackwell even mentioning that just hours ago at the shooting in Evanston. The root of the no snitch mentality is really fear. People are scared if they go to police, well, they could become the next shooting victim. Nobody wants to narc on anybody. We spoke with a former convict who says it comes from both a fear of retribution and a fear of the men and women in blue.
People don't trust the police, and police don't trust the people that they're dealing with.
When Chief Blackwell joins us in just a few minutes live here in studio, we are going to look deeper into this no snitch mentality, what's going on in the community. And for those who do step up to help get criminals off the street, Crime Stoppers is set up to take calls anonymously. If you tip and help others catch these criminals, well, you may get a reward as a result of your efforts. And you know what? Every shooting involves someone with a gun, obviously, often with a major grudge. And police say there are way too many of those guns on Cincinnati streets. And it's really one of the biggest problems they're facing right now.
It really is. So Cincinnati will be calling on outside help to help get those weapons under control.
We understand our need to protect the young people of this city and to take them out of harm's way.
Those words today from Cincinnati's top cop. And one of the best ways to keep them safe, get rid of guns.
That is probably one of the primary goals of the Summer Safety Initiative, to eradicate the firearms on our street and to find out where the guns are coming from.
They'll do that with the help of the ATF and a database they call Brass Tracks, which keeps track of shell casings for similarities.
And it gives us the ability to compare shell casings from all different crime scenes so we can link suspects and offenses together. You know, a lot of times what we have is we know that a lot of our offenders use the same crime guns in multiple offenses. Knowing which ones to try to link those offenses to is very difficult without technology.
Right now, CPD does not compare shell casings in shootings. Doing so, Captain Paul Newdigate says, could be a game changer.
So right now, if we make a gun arrest, we're very myopic, we're very narrowly focused on just that one offense because we don't have the database to link them to other crimes. When you get those shell casings and they're recovered and we plug them in and it does that search for us and it shows that this is the same shell casing used in multiple other offenses, it really opens the investigative door for us.
He says the ATF is bending over backward to help Cincinnati.
The ATF was very gracious to say, even though there's not a machine here right now, we will come out to these individual scenes, collect the casings, overnight them to Washington, start developing that database, and compare all these spent casings to see if we have links, to establish that network analysis so that we can solve more of these offenses than what we are right now.
And ultimately keep Cincinnati's residents safe.
Gun violence is obviously a national problem. The Brady Campaign says 1 out of 3 people in the United States know someone who's been shot. Well, we know the problem, but what's the plan?
Well, just today, police laid out their 90-day plan, but the question, of course, tonight, will it work and how will they measure success with it? Coming up next, we take a closer look at that plan.
And Police Chief Jeffrey Blackwell will be telling us about his plan.
We understand our need to protect the young people of this city and to take them out of harm's way.
90 days. It isn't much time to tackle a problem as big as all the shootings that we've recently seen.
But that's the goal Cincinnati has set for itself. 9 on Your Side reporter Tom McKee shows us how they plan to do that.
This plan puts more officers on the streets, has more of them walking beats, and toughens up the curfew enforcement. Plus, it makes safe havens of rec centers, pools, and parks for families and children.
We're not waiting until another hotspot emerges. We're in the business of crime prevention, crime suppression, not just reaction to crime.
That's how Cincinnati Police Chief Jeffrey Blackwell summarized his summer safety initiative on Wednesday.
We tweaked our day off plan for our officers so that we have more officers on the street. The captains are required on each district to put 2 crews of walkie officers on the street every night, every shift.
Tougher enforcement of the curfew for children ages 10 to 17 is also in the works.
It is not our goal or our intent to criminalize curfew aggressively, but rather to take the children and put them in a safe environment.
That would be curfew enforcement centers like the one being set up at the Church of the Living God in Avondale. City Manager Harry Black says the plan is not a radical departure from current policing.
Rather, it builds upon our principles of strong community partnership and using data to strategically target and inform you of our efforts.
Mayor John Cranley welcomes anything that will reduce the shootings with one caution.
I look forward to trying something new and to measuring it, and if it works, great, and if it doesn't work, we'll try something new again.
The plan's going to be in effect for 90 days, and it wouldn't be surprising to see some of the elements put into daily policing after that time. Tom McKean, 9 on your side in the West End.
And joining us now live in studio, Cincinnati Police Chief Jeffrey Blackwell. Sir, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Obviously, this topic is being discussed a lot, not only in the community, but among members of your officers, your staff. You've been up long hours tonight. I have to ask this first. Right after you announced this plan, there's a quadruple shooting in your city. Can you stop this?
We hope we can. We certainly do. The first thing that came to my mind, however, when I was notified was unbelievable. You know, unbelievable that we are still experiencing these rash of senseless shootings in our communities. But we're hopeful that once this 90-day plan takes hold, the community buys in and contributes and stands up with us, we'll make some impact.
How are you going to measure success?
By the numbers. We are an evidence-based agency, and we keep all of our numbers so that we know where our hotspots are. We are going to require our captains to meet daily, every morning at 9, not only to talk about the previous 24 hours, but to project and shift resources and assets for that day that they're in that morning. And we're just going to, you know, go with the empirical data, what it suggests. We're going to work with our communities, our pastors, our youth outreach folks, and make it a collaborative effort to engage our kids, to be in the community and be visible, which is what we heard from every neighborhood that we've been in, and then to step up or ratchet up our enforcement with a laser focus for the most high-profile criminals in our community.
I mean, obviously, you know the hot spots, your teams know the hot spots, and you can target those. You mentioned the community, how critical it is to bring the community on board in situations like this, and then you tackle the no snitch policy.
Right.
How do you convince the moms, dads, grandparents out there who are raising these children to say, have a sit down and tell them that it's okay to point over and say, hey, my buddy was involved in that shooting, or my buddy is dealing drugs, or what have you?
Absolutely. And I think what you do, and what I've tried to emphasize, not only to folks here, but all over the nation, is that you eradicate the no snitch mentality by your work every day. By building trust, by building authentic relationships in your community, people come to know you, they believe in you, they know you're not there to cause them harm, which is what's going on in many communities across our nation, and they communicate. Because they do care. It is absolutely not true to suggest that people in urban America, black, white, Hispanic, it doesn't matter, that they don't care about crime. They do. But in many areas, they are so disenfranchised with the system or with their police agency due to a fractured relationship and mistrust that they would rather take their chances on their own than involve us. And we have got to make that situation better.
I wanted to ask you just a little bit about the timing, because we're hearing about violence all over the country, and obviously this is summer and kids are out of school. But then how much was a factor the fact that we've got the All-Star game coming up and the eyes of the nation are going to be on us here in Cincinnati?
You know, that wasn't a factor to me. I care about the safety of this city every single day, and the officers do. We take it personally. And our community is starting to take it personally as well. So we are not at all concerned about the challenges that the All-Star game will bring us in less than, I think, about 30 days or so, 30, 40 days. We want to eradicate this violent uptick right now, today, tomorrow, and make the city the safest big city in America, not only for the All-Star game, but for the people that live here throughout the year.
One interesting side note on this, your curfew situation, if somebody's picked up for a curfew and they're taking to one of the two facilities, one of the two churches, you're actually going through, what, integrity training, or you're basically going to put these kids in a pseudo school, so to speak, to say this is how you should behave. How do you think that's going to come over?
Well, first, let me say this, because I've gotten dozens of emails from people saying I should not include the church. The church is just going to be the drop-off location. The people involved are not going to minister to the students or the young people. It's not going to be a church environment, if you will. Right. There will be no Bible study or anything like that. We're just going to continue to have character, integrity, and leadership workshops. We're going to talk to the young people about the dangers of being out late at night, about what can happen, and we're going to just talk about violence reduction methods. We're going to feed the kids, and then we're going to make sure that they get home to their parents.
That could be key, too. Thank you so much for being here, and good luck over the next 90 days, because I know it's going to be a busy and important time.
But I think the people of Cincinnati have said enough is enough. They're standing up with us. We see it everywhere we go. We get words of encouragement. They are being brave, and so we need to do our part as well. All
right. Well, thanks again, Chief Jeffrey Blackwell. Thanks for being here with us today.
Thank you, Carol. Chief.
And the shooting violence will take a community to solve it. Up next, a part of the solution that looks to change hearts and minds.
We'll be right back. You're watching Stopping the Violence on 9 on your side.
Many say policing isn't the only answer to putting a dent in the violence, and that any success requires everybody to do their part.
An entire community, really. 9 on your side's Roseanne Aragon shows you why community leaders say it truly takes a village.
We got to look ourselves in the mirror. We got to look ourselves in the mirror and stop being afraid.
Ossie Davis has one goal: to get the community to wake up. He's the director of the Avondale Comprehensive Development Center.
You know, we're at a really dangerous stage right now, and it calls for harsh measures.
The measures used to find a solution in a sea of violence. Today, Blackwell's plan focused on treating the problem from within. Police on the ground, educators at the curfew centers, and a community with a voice. A solution where everybody's got to give.
The first thing we can do is take care of our little stoop. And if there's something going on our little stoop, make sure it's not happening.
We have to, as a community, then as a police, have to restore trust and confidence in the ability to keep people safe.
Ennis Tate with the Church of the Living God says the plan is simple: be engaged outside and inside the home.
Be a voice, be an advocate, but the greatest asset for us is for those parents and grandparents of those individuals committing the crimes, continue to be an influence in their lives.
An influence that might spread the message that policing alone isn't the answer. Roseanne Aragon, 9 on your side.
The plan affects a lot of the people who live in this city, and one of them who's been outspoken for years is Ossie Davis.
Joining us now, he's a lifelong Avondale resident who serves on the community council. We actually saw you in that story just a moment ago. But when we're talking about the community, it's easier said, I think, than done to say, well, the community needs to get involved, and parents and grandparents, everyone needs to talk to the youth and tell them to straighten up. That's a pretty easy thing to throw out there.
Yes, it's easier to say than it is to actually do, primarily because in the community there are a lot of actors. So it takes a lot of partners to come together. So Pastor Tate, who couldn't be here tonight because of Bible study, and Ceasefire, Project Nehemiah Ceasefire. It takes Deanna Hoskins in the Office of Reentry. It takes people like Iris Rowley and Mitch Morris. It takes a lot of infrastructure, if you will, to support community engagement. So when you ask a person to be on a block watch or a court watch or on Citizens Patrol, it's not necessarily the end thing to do, but with those other parties encouraging the activity, then you get more involvement, and then you start to see you get more action, and that's what really counts.
Why do you, we hear about this all over the country, and of course we're talking about Cincinnati, but why do you think there's a rise in violence right now?
Primarily because of a lack of respect. A lot of 20 to 30s and even lower, maybe to 16, really don't respect the current system, the current structure, aspirations that we had. I'm about to be 50, about the white picket fence and the station wagon and two children. That ain't the way it is anymore. And people aren't having the same type of aspirations and have a big disrespect for the system and for themselves. And that disrespect and lack of love combined has caused a chaotic situation.
Well, good luck to you and the community in sort of reestablishing that structure this summer, and thank you for being here with us
We
today.
appreciate you, and thank you all.
Thank you. We'll be on your side and the community side throughout the whole situation, of course, and the problem, the plan, and of course, most importantly, the solution. That's what we're talking about. Where do we go from here? That's coming up next. Plan your work, work your plan. It's clear Cincinnati has a lot of work to do.
And police have given themselves just 90 days. That's not very much to get violent crime under control. Let's just recap the staggering numbers. 53 people have been shot in our city so far this year. That is up 77% from this time last year. And today, more proof of the problem as police responded to a quadruple shooting in Evanston. Just hours after announcing that 90-day plan to curb violence. So thank you for watching. Thank you for joining us this evening.
9 on Your Side is dedicated. We'll see you at 11.